And then also for after the official link for
Okay. So I can put it on my channel.
exactly, yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Nice. So the stream has started. And that's another thing I'm not a fan of with Webinar Jam. Like, it doesn't stream off the usual platform, so it takes a while for people to know
People
what.
do that.
Yeah. But other than that, we are live right now. I
Okay.
I made the video public, so I'm going to post this on my Facebook page, and I'm also going to send this.
Is there a way for me to post it on my YouTube?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I sent you that link right now, actually.
Oh, okay. Let me go there.
All right, cool. Now I'm going to post this.
Um, hmm. Okay, show new message. Okay. I mean, YouTube. Now, how do I go live on my YouTube with it?
Like to share it on YouTube.
Yeah, how do I do that?
Okay, so
There's a
you'll
link.
if you go to create post where it lets you like type in posts, you should be able to link it there for
Okay,
people.
create post.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, and then just how do I get it up there?
Oh, like to actually create the post?
No, I mean like how do I link it up there? Here we go. Okay, here's the address.
Sweet.
How do I get it up there? Alrighty, alrighty.
Oh, like to actually create the post?
No, I see.
No, I
I
mean
see,
like how do I
I see.
link
I see.
there?
I see.
Here we go. Here's the address.
Sweet.
How do I get it up there?
That's on your side, right? To actually create the post.
No, I got it. I got it. I'm putting it.
I see. Here we go. Here's the address. How do I get it up there?
That's on your side, right? To actually create the post.
No, I got it. I'm putting it.
I see. Here we go. Here's the address. How do I get it up there?
That's on your side, right? To actually create the post.
No, I got it. I'm putting it. I see. Here we go. Here's the address.
Is there a way to pause the video on time?
What the heck? Sorry. All right, it's gone. Sorry about that.
No problem. Well,
That was crazy.
we got some people live right now. The video's public. So yes, welcome to episode 123 of Peace Talk, where I have the honor and privilege of interviewing awesome personalities and very special and awesome people. And today's guest is super extra special. I think you go by Miss V. Is that correct?
Lady V.
Lady V. My I remember I see that in the comments. Hey, Lady V, that's what I should say. So yeah, I got wind of you because shout out to Magic Phoenix on Instagram. That's what she goes by. I think her name is like. Let me actually look it up right now because she had sent me the video of you making the activate the X-Men gene video, which
Oh wow. Okay.
yeah,
So
looking very,
Instagram is worth something. Okay.
what was that?
I said so Instagram is actually worth something.
Yeah, it was and I feel you on that too, but I thought it was really amazing. So I don't have her I don't see her first and last name here, but she goes by Magic Phoenix. She had sent me a link to it. She said, just wanted to share the DNA activation meditation I'm doing with Lady V of Higher Realm Holistics. It's time to activate your X-Men genes. You and her on the same frequency. Please do a peace talk. And then I just thought that was amazing because at this stage of my life, like I've been begging God. I've been like praying to the universe, putting out intentions. Like I want to come into my full power. I want to come into my full power. And like she sends this video, which is a direct answer to prayer. I even got my mandala, the mandala here. Put my numbers in it and
Oh,
everything.
awesome. Yes. Don't show anybody your numbers. Protect
Yeah,
yourself.
that's true. So, yeah, we're actually gonna do a ritual for the new moon, like starting at 7. And for that ritual, I linked your blog post, I linked the video, and I kind of encourage people to come with their mandalas, and we're gonna do it all together, and kind of
Oh,
yeah. So, for those of you who are not aware, Lady V is the mastermind behind this. It looks like some people watching are already familiar with your channel too, which is awesome. So,
yeah, because I announced it in the video I did this morning. Early this morning, during the witching hours, as they call it, between 1 and 5, I had a major activation. I had another activation, and I opened my eyes and I just saw they were sparking out in blue, these blue, it was binary code. It was just like, and I literally heard the sound like, I was like, what the heck am I looking at? Like I say, I just surrendered to the process. All I said to my oversoul when this whole thing started back in 2012 was I just want to go as high as I possibly can and take as many people with me as possible, especially my loved ones, who I consider my kids and my sisters and my BFF. I was like, just please let me do that. Don't leave me behind. Whatever it is I have to do, I surrendered to it. I said, please excuse me and pardon me if I go kicking and screaming, but I'll eventually go, so don't give up on me. Because I go kicking and screaming. I don't sit there and act like oh God, I'm so perfect. Everything that comes through me is excellent. I go with it. No. I sit there and I fight and I say no and I throw a tantrum like a 2-year-old who refuses to go to sleep. That is exactly what I do. And eventually I give up and I'm like, fine, whatever. So I saw these binary codes just popping up, and I heard this sound and I was like, what is this all about? And then my oversoul said, it is another activation. It's more activation of your X genes. I'm like, okay, cool. And then when it was over, I was told, share it. The energy is coming through with this portal that's opening up. And then I saw the moon reflecting this energy and then the sun opening up and it coming through and it met together and hit Earth at the same time. I was like, okay, cool. It's like, do it for sunrise. And I was like, holy crap. I had to jump up, throw on my clothes and hop on the old bike and get over the bridge to the beach. And I got there right on time for sunrise to share it with everyone.
wow, yeah, well timed, I mean, even this new moon that we're having, which just fascinates me how on point the transits are. Like Uranus is 4 degrees Taurus and the Sun is 4 degrees Scorpio. So like this
Mm-hmm.
literally supports a supernatural activation of your genes. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like you presenting this is almost too perfect. And
Yeah, I know. It blows my mind too, bro. Trust me. I don't even know. Like I say, I don't sit there and watch others' videos because I want the information to come through just pure. Like I don't want to be influenced or anything. I just want to be able to deliver exactly what's going on. So that's why I just sit there, and be like, okay, what do you got to say to me? Show me whatever I have to, and whatever I have to keep to myself, I keep to myself. Tell me how long I keep it to myself. When do I say it? And I find it's always right on point. It's always right on time. Like you got it exactly. Everybody got it exactly. And then I was guided. I saw an Illuma Ash video pop up, and sure enough, she was talking about it. And I was just like, oh crap. And then I watched your video. I was like, okay, I did what I was supposed to do. And then also, I was guided, and I had told everyone to meditate with a what was the crystal again? It was the yellow one. Citrine, and it had to do with the solar plexus. It had something to do with it, and also it's like this big push. It's not fine; it could still do it, but it's like this big push for light workers, especially to activate to activate their Kundalini and have their Kundalini rise and stay up. And that's all part of this last quarter of 2019.
How activate Kundalini and let it stay up? Because I remember you even said that you suggested we do this day and night until the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm doing it day and night till the end of the year. Yeah.
That just like brings it more out.
Well, it's a process. It's not just one time that everything's activated. Like it literally like starts to get things going.
Okay.
And as you do it, like I saw it, it's this process where I saw my genes, like I felt them. You feel it sometimes when you do it. Tell me you didn't feel it going through your body.
Yeah, it was especially because of the tones we had to say. It's like parts of my body I haven't felt got like activated. Like I felt them. It's subtle, but yeah, I did feel it.
And the more you do, the more you'll feel it. Trust me. Especially go to Higher Realm Holistics, my channel, and you will see the one that I did this morning. And we're using those same mantras, but I guide you to look at the sun, the rising sun, and you're getting those activation codes coming through that sun portal. Even though it's spraying like crazy
Instead
out
of
there.
the mandala, you look at the sun. Is what you're
Huh?
saying? Instead of the mandala, you're looking at the sun. Is what you're saying?
Well, yeah, but no, you're doing both. But
Oh,
what came through this morning were some extra codes. Binary code. That's what was coming through this morning. And I went and did that video this morning at the beach, filming the sun rising while chanting.
that's amazing. That's really amazing. And
It's a real head trip.
oh yeah. The so the, oh yes, I was gonna say thank you for the recording because that really also is very helpful. It made it much more seamless process of
Thank you.
but
You're welcome. You're welcome.
where are you based in? Where do you stay?
I'm in Miami Beach.
Okay, so you're on the East Coast in Florida. That's awesome.
East Coast or West Coast. Hope you're staying safe out in California.
Yeah, I mean I'm in Vegas, but like
Oh,
my sisters are out in Cali. I travel back and forth. Yeah,
mm,
it's getting wild out here. I mean,
really wild.
there was this thing on campus where there was a note thread of people targeting African Americans and Bernie Sanders supporters. So we had like optional attendance for it. Yeah, it was stupid.
Oh, it's BS.
It was total BS. But
Yeah.
like, I had to take precautions. But yeah, so there's definitely a lot I'm really looking forward to talk to you about tonight. One, of course, what's your sun, moon, and rising sign?
I'm a double Pisces and a Taurus moon.
Oh, wow. Okay, natural divinity right there. It's amazing.
Mhm.
I like the Taurus moon aspect with Pisces because the Taurus moon grounds, like being a Pisces sun and rising is so difficult because you're always
Exactly. That's why I'm so grateful I'm a Taurus moon because,
yeah,
like, it brings me down to earth. And especially a Taurus moon, it's for your emotions.
yeah,
So my emotional body's not going berserk,
it's exhausting.
especially with the double Pisces.
Exactly. Yeah, which is very positive. I've seen Pisces energy drive people crazy, but
Yeah.
the ones with Earth energy with it like takes away the excess. Especially Taurus moon, it allows you to like ground the divine experience. So I think I'm even more honored of that because I consider Pisces representatives as ascended masters. So like that only adds more to legitimacy of the channeling and drawing this energy, and that's truly divine. It's truly amazing. So really, in that sense, but that's awesome. So okay, double Pisces, Taurus moon. There's something you said on your channel that I think that I've heard recently, and you pointed out the difference between a light worker and a light warrior. Yeah, which you have on your shirt.
It's my lady VT. Yes, my merch. Light warrior. Loud and proud.
Yeah, I consider myself both, more so a warrior than a worker nowadays. And could you expand on that for us, like what that's all about and what it
You
means?
know, a light warrior is a light worker. It's just a very particular type of light worker. We're more a bit rough around the edges. I'm sure you could tell I'm from New York, which is what you were at. Um, we're the way it was described to me, boots on the ground. Boots on the ground, not afraid to get dirty, not afraid of the ugly stuff. You run into that burning building. That's the light warrior.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what how do you feel being a light warrior now is different compared to like early 60s or like previous times?
I don't know. I wasn't alive. What do you mean?
Yeah, my bad. But it's just as far as like rather, what do you feel is like the evolution of being a light warrior, and like how do you feel it is now versus like
Well, it's hot now. I
right?
mean, this is it. We're in it.
We're in it.
That's the thing. There's no prepping. There's no getting ready for it. This is it.
I like that. There's no prepping. That's true. That's very true. And I'm just kind of grateful for the timing of everything and where we are right now. And it's like a populace being able to like step into these new realizations. Me having a Christian upbringing, I'm at the stage in my journey where like the hardcore cosmic truths I'm coming into directly contradict a lot of what I've been taught growing up, and having to just shed these
Hmm.
conditionings
No,
and
I was raised Catholic. I was in Catholic school from first grade through college. I went to St. John's University. I went to an all girls Catholic school
okay,
with the Dominican nuns with the long white habits and the huge rosaries
yeah,
who had switches. That's where I went to school.
okay. I've been in Catholic school personally from first grade to I want to say seventh grade,
Mm.
and then eighth grade I started going to public school. Huge difference. I'll say that. It's
Yeah.
definitely, yeah. But still fascinating nonetheless. I feel like a whole lot of how we're on the front lines to, because that's one thing that people may see about this and not appreciate, especially when we reach out to people online. It's like some people might diminish the effectiveness because there's not a physical presence, but we're still putting ourselves out there, open to attacks from others, to spread
Hmm.
light, to intercede on others' behalfs, to kind of like guide through. So all honor to you. Very very.
You too. You too, bro. I'm very honored to talk to you because it's like I heard of your name last year because I've only been doing this for a little over a year. Um, and it was like the first time I started, and they said the peace dealer. I was like, no, I don't know, because I didn't watch anybody. I was like, I have no idea who you're talking about. And then when you came to me, and then I was like, peace dealer. I could have sworn I heard that. And I was like, I'll look it up. And I looked it up. I said, I remember this guy. Okay, all right, all right. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I mentioned it to a couple of my subscribers, like, oh my God, I love him. He's awesome. Ah, people love you.
That's awesome. I'm very honored. It's been quite the journey, that's for sure. And I'm so excited about now. I feel like I'm at a place where I can really step into my full power and do more. Really, really do it at that greatest level. So, yeah. What's the necklace that you have on here? It looks like
It's a triple goddess necklace.
oh, nice.
Okay, and that's lapis lazuli in the center, very high grade lapis lazuli. So it was quite a bit of money. And it's part of my oversoul. Hecate is
Uh-huh.
part of my oversoul, is an aspect of me.
And that's the next thing I wanted to ask you. So, for those who may not be aware, familiar, what is an oversoul?
Your oversoul is your parent soul. I'm just going to explain it the way it was explained to me when I first started meeting these different aspects of me. I did not know there were aspects that made up my soul, that they were part of my parent's soul. Just like the same way you get 50% of your genes from your mom and 50 from your dad, and it makes you up, and you have characteristics of your mom and characteristics of your dad, but no matter how much you look like one of your parents, you're still that separate entity, and the combination of their traits makes you something different and special. That's the same way it was shown to me that your oversoul is. Like, I have over 13 aspects in different degrees. It's not 50-50. It's not even amount like your parents. It's like you have greater aspects and lesser aspects. Okay. And they all come together. They all lend part of themselves. These higher masters lend part of themselves to create you.
In the astral way. Okay.
They look very physical to me. I mean, because I was shown the birthing of my soul. I was shown the birthing of my best friend, who's been my best friend since second grade. I was shown how we're from the same soul group and what made her up, and then I was shown how when we started our life's journey in the physical together, and how we always had the same type of friendship. It was hysterical. And the same night I was shown that she had a dream. So I had the craziest dream about you, and we were doing this. Well, we were men when we first started. I was like, I died laughing. I was like, oh my God. I said, yeah, that is us when we first came into this world. And we've been at it for a while. We're like Heckle and Jekyll, these two magpies, at each other, but we're best friends. We've always been that. So it's really cool to know I'm here journeying with somebody so close to me.
It seems like that's a great analogy for the outer planets when you brought in soul groups too, and how like different soul groups. I guess the oversoul institutes the different soul groups. And,
Mm-hmm.
and you said
Exactly. The makeup.
the make okay. So like different beings could be oversouls.
Oh yeah, like
That's awesome.
like for instance, one of the top parts of my oversoul is the triple goddess. Okay, and then Mother Mary. Like, I have a large Nazarene, as they call themselves, the Nazarene part, which Yeshua's in, but he's not part of my oversoul. But his half brother, James the Greater, which was an apostle, he's the last part of my oversoul I met. He's part of my oversoul. I was like, oh, okay. So that's how I would see myself with Yeshua in the great pyramids, learning the different Essene practices. I was like, how it's like, and I would be, and I knew I felt the masculine energy, I felt the male body, and I saw myself looking through the eyes, and I'd be looking at him and looking at other people. I'm like, how am I doing this? And then finally, James the Greater was the last one to come to me. It's like, oh, so that's why I always referred to as Yeshua as my brother, my brother. And he used to refer to me since I was a kid as my brother. I'm like, why is he calling me my brother? Now I knew why. I was like, oh, cool.
That's amazing. That's super amazing. It's once again, I'm just fascinated with the Piscean energy in general, because like I feel like y'all are in a world that only few can ever really see. Like
Well,
it's
especially as a double Pisces.
yeah, and Neptune is over that too, so I can
Yeah,
imagine it's tapping you into different timelines and worlds, and just the simultaneous riveting of
yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's something different, that's for sure. I, ugh. Sometimes I just sit back and I'm just like this, like I don't even have words. And I'm glad that my oversoul took me kicking and screaming to make my YouTube channel, to be honest with you, and start doing it, because all this stuff was just up in my head since I was little and in my heart. Um, and it's great to know that all of this stuff that I've experienced and all of this information I've compiled through all these lifetimes, I'm able to help and guide people, and it makes sense to them. And it's like, wow, okay, cool.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, I mean, the best is yet to come too. It's going to be awesome to see where this goes for all of us involved. So really good.
Well, it's going. Some of us could say yes, it's amazing, but like I said, 2020 is it's already starting to get messy, and 2020 is going to be a real.
It's where the warrior part comes in, basically.
Well, our warrior part's been coming in, but it's going to be more physical
More physical. I feel that. Oh yeah, very more physical. Yeah.
because we're going to be the ones to be able to stomach what's to come, while our loved ones, the normies, and that's a loving term, and the muggles, as I call them,
Yeah.
they're going to be like, oh my God, the 3D veil is down. It is broken. It's down. It's about waking up at this point. And even as light workers and light warriors, you still are waking up to the nastiness. And a lot of people still don't want to hear it. It's just like, oh, just, if you just stay positive and loving, everything's going to work itself out. As a light warrior, you know why? I'm boots on the ground. I'm gonna have to be in there and helping people who are human trafficking victims. All this stuff that's coming out. Try to give out this information. Calm folks down when they start actually hearing. Yeah, guess what? This is real. It's not unicorns every time. Like I say, every time a unicorn farts, a light worker does not get their wings. Okay.
Yeah, I love how at every force, at every play, the dark side infiltrates and puts deception in the church and the light worker community, always to try and like present things to where they're not, and of course through people who mean well, but that's where by your fruit ye shall know them. One word before we go back. I forgot to mention this before. When I got shared this activate the X-Men gene, all I've been watching have been like videos about Marvel comics and X-Men. So it's like the timing and yeah, it's all just like hitting me crazy, and I know for all of us on the path that the awareness of signs and synchronicities have like exponentially risen just considerably. So
To
that's why
make it real.
to make it real, yeah. And
It needs to come out of here, up there, and they say, oh, grounding. No, but a lot of people are still up there. I'm just like, no, you understand? This is the real deal. That
yeah,
you're being prepped to go in, to really step into war. I mean, I've been in that war.
war, yes. Yes. Thank you for mentioning it.
Spiritual warfare, and it's real. It's more real than fighting over in Iraq. No, this is the real deal. This is what's really been holding down the world. This is what's really been holding down Earth and Gaia and all of its inhabitants.
So true. And I mean, like, where human beings are conditioned to and just drown out this with entertainment. Forget about the war. Have fun, drink, dance, fornicate. Like, don't take this seriously. That's just in your head.
Yeah,
All
oh, it's an illusion. You're living in a video game. According to the Kabbalion, for all intents and purposes, which is, excuse my language, this is real.
you're welcome to curse here. That's totally
Okay,
fine.
this shit's real. All right? This shit is real.
Oh, yeah.
For all intents and purposes, it is real. Okay, so you treat it as such because you are in this physical body. So you have to get through this in order to get out of that physical body. You're still in the physical, therefore, you're treating it like it's real.
Yep.
Because guess what? You want to be up there as much as you want, airy fairy as you want. If somebody comes up and cuts you, you're going to bleed and it's going to hurt.
True that. Very
It's
true.
plain and simple and real.
And yeah, that's one thing that I've been feeling more so than ever, like a much more realistic way to view this spiritual war, right now it's still up in the air. People are playing the mental illness card, the mental health card, but it's way deeper than that. It's like there's certain, and that's where now I want to really address the whole concept of muggles or normies, where someone watching outside that's not versed can be like, "Oh, these people are spiritual elitists." They look at people as like as muggles or whatnot. But like, you are someone who has mastered magical awareness, something that I've learned the hard way. I always have this belief that, and it's true, everyone has magical ability, everyone's psychic, but I've always believed that everyone can see magic. And it's just learning the hard way that the concept of normies or muggles exists, like people who just don't perceive it. It is a mutable sign thing, but like there are people out there who, deny it, they don't accept it. And I thought it's just something you got to prove. But, there is a delineation between magical adepts and muggles, as we say. Like you say, it's like it's set in kindness. It's not set to divide. But
no, it's not set to divide. It's not set to. It's like saying, if somebody called a 2-year-old a toddler, are you being mean to the toddler? Is it some type of phobia because they love to throw that word? Am I toddler phobic now or something?
Toddler phobic, yes. Seriously.
Am I saying that? I'm not toddler phobic.
Yeah, that was a good one. I totally feel you on that. And I feel like that's a part of the war too, like to complete disdain and disrespect for truth in light of making people feel good. And it's so confusing.
I actually have a shirt that I just made today that said, "The truth does not care about your feelings."
Not at all.
So get over it. And I always say, because I've been having this since I started, but people are more used to me now. I got it so bad when I first started. It was like, "Oh, you're not loving and kind. You're not loving and kind. How could you call yourself a light worker? You're not coming from a place of kindness." Get over yourself.
I know.
We don't have time for your feelings. If you want to behave like a snowflake, go find your safe space because it's not here. I just might hurt your feelings, by the way, because ain't nobody got time for that. We're in a spiritual war. We're at the end here, right here, because I said come 2019, it's the springboard, and it's like the way it was shown to me, it was divided in quarters. We're in that last quarter. Tell me you didn't feel it the minute we started this last quarter. October, November, December.
Oh yeah.
You literally physically feel it. It is physical.
Like preparation, like something's coming.
Yes.
And I've seen this year like a mass revival. Like a lot of people are coming back to Christ. A lot of people are seeing the light. And it's like, that's because they're getting ready for war.
Not for nothing. Look at Kanye.
Exactly.
That boy, they strapped him down. They dyed his hair blonde. God knows what the heck they did to him. And he still is like trying to break through that programming as much as he possibly can.
He said the devil brought him to a low point in his life, and he started doing the Sunday church services to honor God. And like within 4 months, like he didn't get delivered right away. It was 4 months in he got delivered. But the thing that I appreciate about that is a lot of people want to throw him under the bus, like, "Oh, this is a marketing ploy, it's a marketing scheme." But he called them out. He's like, how are you a Christian saying, "No, you can't go to God"? Isn't that what you're about? Like that's
the hypocrisy. That's the hypocrisy of organized religion. They look at it as a closed club. And it's used as a tool to separate instead of a tool to bring together, which quite honestly, the spiritual, metaphysical, light worker group has gotten that way also.
It has. It really has. Which it's crazy. Like, I totally once again agree. Like the way the church is acting is what was written in Revelations. Like near the end of the Bible, they call it out. It's like, yeah, you people in the church, you think you're cool because you follow the precepts, but you're acting like you're too holy. It's basically just verbatim how the church is now. But one thing that's important is the light worker community is kind of like how the church was. Like if you're not vegan, you're not spiritual. If you're
Oh,
not,
I call it a light worker snobbery.
yeah,
There's a
seriously,
lot of light worker snobbery going on, and that's why I literally went kicking and screaming to start my channel. I was like, you know what, God, Oversoul, I have no problem having my little holistic health practice because I'm a certified holistic integrative health nurse. I'll do that. I have my little clipboard, my little white coat on. I'll help out cancer patients. Ooh, isn't that enough? No, that's not enough. I was like, are you kidding me? I'll never get another date again in my entire life. I'll go completely off the cliff. That'll be it. Like that'll be it. If I actually have to, and because my spirituality to me was so personal and so private.
yeah, yeah, and
I
that's how it's supposed to be.
I did not want to come out there.
Spirituality is supposed to be private, so it's something that you're saying that I mean, there's between what you're doing is more work of service, but I feel like how the spiritual aspect should be private because there's a lot of public showing of spiritual things that are done for views to trend. You have a lot of people who are coming out here to make a name for themselves using spirituality as a
Oh
platform,
yeah.
and yet some of the most like impactful people who don't have as much followers, the one thing they have in common, spirit dragged them out kicking and screaming. Like, no, we need you to use your gift.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's how you know when it's real or not, because there's plenty of people out there with a camera on, they're walking around like, hey, yeah, ooh, I'm cool, ooh, citing whatever stuff they get off of other people's channels, and making their money and stuff, and they'll have their 100,000 followers, and people are eating it up, just like they're eating up, evangelists and stuff like that, and not falling into as I call it, the glamour. Like Hollywood has glam. There's a reason why they call it glamorous, and they're following that Hollywood formula, the glamour. They're falling into the glamour of it, but all that glamour is it's all falling out. The energy of Earth, the vibration of Earth, because it is rising exponentially, it cannot support glamour. In the magic realm, glamour is an illusion.
It's a complete illusion. Yeah.
So it cannot support the glamour. So all those who are showing glamour, it's all coming down. That's part of the whole thing with the Jeffrey Epstein case, exposing all these Holly weirdos and everything like that, all the politicians. All that is glamour, and all of that is going to fall off, and people are going to be devastated. Devastated.
I mean, our culture is built up on so much fakeness. Like
Exactly. Glamour. Everything's fake.
what constitutes who's famous, what constitutes success, what constitutes beauty, all fake, all manufactured, all created. And now we're at a place where we need something real, and people are waking up and realizing that the things they thought they were eating was just a dream, so they're still hungry. They thought they've been nourishing themselves, but it's been superficial. And that's why I'm just so glad to be on this path that we're on, despite how it looks to others, which is so ironic. It's like good is bad and bad is evil. So the things that are false light purport.
But that is 3D. It's an inversion.
It's an inversion. There we go.
3D is an inversion. Now that the 3D grid is down and people are waking up, they're waking up out of the glamour, out of the illusion, out of the inversion, into the reality. And us as light workers, we're standing there waiting for them because we've already woken up out of it.
Exactly. Well, and it was not easy. Like we did it when it was not popular, when we were outright ostracized.
Well, we had to raise our vibration above that 3D grid while it was still up.
While it was still up, exactly. Before it was trendy, before it was cool to talk about, and not to say that as a chip on my shoulder, but it's just important to keep in mind, especially, when it comes to when I said earlier that everything's made up, like think about the MTV programs we've grown up on, the TV programs, the red carpet appearances. It's all a production. Like it's all
Well, I was on MTV. I used to be an MTV dancer, you know. I did a few MTV commercials for different rappers. I was in the modeling glamour stinking world. Okay. Um, and I could not function in it. I simply couldn't function. I could not lower my vibration enough where I fit in. It just couldn't work.
Because you stand out for sure.
Oh God, yeah. I always say I just was not a good little model. I just was not. I was like, why do I have to do that? I don't believe I have to do that. That doesn't make sense. I was always constantly bucking the system where I'd be like, get this bitch off my, get off my set. I was very much one of those.
That's what's up. That's really good. So shout out to y'all in the comment section showing love. It's really awesome. Really awesome. I think this is a high we've had with this platform. But yeah, this is going to be the last time I use Webinar Jam. Shout out to Webinar Jam. Pretty cool. I just got zoomed out for that. But yeah, this is really dope. How did you personally get into how did Higher Realm Holistics form, and what inspired you to? I know you said you were kicking and screaming, but like, what's the story behind?
When you say Higher Realm Holistics, as in my channel?
Your channel, yeah.
Okay, because like I said, I went back to school. I've been in nursing for almost 17 years now. Okay, and then I could not stand. I never liked allopathic medicine to begin with. Okay, I didn't practice it on my own. I didn't practice it on my children. I didn't grow up dealing with allopathic medicine. I'm from a Caribbean family, and we're very much, especially my mom, ICU. Anyone knows if you're the kid of a nurse, you're not going to the hospital unless your limb is falling off or something. I've literally pulled out, a stitching kit and stitch up my kids, literally. Throw some steri strips on there. Hey, you're fine. You're not bleeding anymore. Go back. So especially growing up Caribbean, I didn't grow up with all these meds and all this kind of stuff. Didn't drink soda. First time I went to a fast food restaurant, I was 15 years old. Yeah, White Castles. So I've never, I didn't grow up that way. So it sickened me being in allopathic medicine. I was always trying to teach patients the better way because they were never taught. I started off in pediatrics. Get these kids in diabetic ketoacidosis coming in with, I kid you not, blood sugars of over 1,000. Body temperature of 105 because of the blood sugar being so high. And no teaching, no soda. What did they, do they get diet soda on their tray? I'm like, what the WTF? You get a patient, I worked in heart lab, you get a patient coming from heart surgery. They get no, we're not going to give them give them a diet ginger ale. Like, so we're here to kill their pancreatic cells too while they're cooling their heart? I don't understand. Doctor said I could drink it. I'm like, okay, fine. Go ahead. You go right ahead. Do what you got to do. So it sickened me.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. I kept hearing that I had to get out of it and do something else. I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to go back to school, get my certification in holistic and integrative health. Okay, fine. I'll even teach it. Okay, great. I'll teach rescue medicine, especially for rescue cardiac. I was like, I believe in that because I believe, somebody's having a crisis. You get them out of the crisis, you get them alive, and then they start the healing process. Okay. So I'm like, okay, I'll even teach that. My oversoul was like, started showing me what I was going to do. I'm like, no, no. Not gonna happen. I'll never get it. Like, I straight up said, I'll never have friends. The friends I have will leave me. I will never have a boyfriend. Not gonna happen. Okay. And then I heard, oh no, it has to happen. This is it. This is how you're going to finally reach out. It's time. it's going to take you this long. Then I was shown you're going to prepare people for 2020. I said, I can prepare them health-wise. No, holistic, and use this against me, I felt. Holistic stands for body, mind, and soul. I was like, yeah, but why do I have to focus on the soul? No, this is what you're going to do, blah, blah, blah. So I was in New York at the time doing a contract, working in surgery, and a friend of mine who I've known since high school. She's a Muggle. She's a normie, very Catholic. She has her little bottle of holy water next to her picture of the Pope, but she's very open and knows me because she's known me since I was a kid. So she's like, you know what? I know you're having this existential crisis with your soul. Why don't you just do whatever it is that your guardian angel, your guide is telling you to do? Get it over with. Just do it. See what happens. Do one video. I was like, okay, fine. I'll do one video. And I did it on EFT tapping because I'm certified in EFT tapping and I strongly believe in it. And I've been using it since I was a teenager myself. That's awesome. To help me with post-traumatic stress disorder. And it works very well for veterans with PTSD also and abuse victims. And I was an abuse victim. So I did it to relieve ascension symptoms. Okay, that's what I did it for. Next thing I know, Higher Self picks it up and it's like, boom, 30,000, in views. And I'm just like, and I said, okay, well, you know what? That's it. I'll never see so-and-so ever again. I've given up my life, my social life. I guess that's it. I'm going to die alone. Sure enough, somebody that I knew that I thought I was interested at the moment, who writes me, said, oh my God, V, is that you? I can't believe it. I was just like, he watches Higher Self, WTF. That was like, blew my head. I was like, okay, that's interesting.
You're saying like the channel Higher Self picked up your video?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that makes sense. That's amazing.
Yeah. In fact, other people that I knew was like, is that you that I just saw on Higher Self? I was like, you watch Higher Self? I mean, it was just like, whoa. It blew my mind. So then it made me not feel so much like a freak and not afraid to come out. And so that is what pushed me to keep going.
Yeah, it's almost like how in the X-Men, like the mutants are, they don't want to reveal their mutant status to humans.
Oh, exactly. You want to try to pay normal, even though we know as light workers. I was that emo kid in the back, always had with the hair like this, the hoodie on, my headphones, book up in the back of the class, and then I would sleep. Honestly, I slept a lot in the back of the class. Next thing I know, I remember when I was in nursing college, one of my good friends, she tapped me. She's like, hey, girl, you congratulations. Everyone's like, hey. I'm like, for what? What's going on? I was student body president somehow. I was running. I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
Somehow. I love
my friend was like, no, I nominated you because I know you got the nerve and the guts to go there, go across the street, which is where we were attached to this hospital, the Harlem Hospital, and the board, we had a problem with teachers, and they were like, instead of teaching in the class, everything was online. Yeah, half of it was supposed to be online, but they weren't really teaching. So the students were pissed. Tuition's like freaking $40,000 a year. And it's like, no, we need somebody who we know is not going to be scared to open their mouth. But I'm like, fine. I took care of it. In 2 weeks, I had the board over there, 4 teachers fired. And then after a couple of months, I quit. I was like, because the chick who really wanted it, who was campaigning and had buttons and was handing out flyers, I was like, here, you want it so bad? There you go. I did what I was supposed to do. Everybody leave me the hell alone.
Everyone wanted. That's amazing.
You try to hide. You could try to hide as much as you freaking want, but you can't.
That's so true. Even
like my daughter calls me Candace Aberdeen from whatchamacallit, Candace Aberdeen. She's the star who's for Hunger Games.
Okay.
She's like, you're so her. You're so her. That reluctant hero and everything.
Oh yes. That's amazing. That's so amazing. It's like behind every great story, there's always that theme, and that's what's up. It's shout out to Shauna D. We need more of this light worker uniting. Um, no hide and seek, we peekaboo. I'm just reading some of the comments here, but yeah. Could you go a little bit into what EFT tapping is?
Think of acupuncture and acupressure, okay? Where you put the needles in for acupuncture and where you hit the spots for acupressure. Tapping is a form of acupressure. You're going along your meridians. Those needles go along meridians. The meridian, think of it as your I wish I had the picture that I made. Your meridians, think of it as like it is your electrical body system, just like you have your circulatory system. Okay, and they can map out your entire circulatory system. So you've gone into the doctor's office or the hospital or biology class and you see your circulatory system or your lymphatic system. Your then you have your electrical body system. And if you have clogs in your electricity flowing throughout your body, that forms disease. We are electrical beings. And what the tapping does, it relieves it relieves congestion in the electrical body. And depending on what you're saying, you're also reprogramming that route, that electrical route. That is how you clear out old programming, like especially if you have PTSD or addictions. That is how you clear out the old programming and then you program yourself for new. Whenever I do my webinars, which I've been doing like a webinar a week, I always do EFT tapping with it. We start to unclog it, open you up to allow the energy to flow from source through you. So you're open to receiving the new programming.
Beautiful. And these are usually have to be done in person, obviously. Like
No, I do it via webinar.
you can do that. You can do EFT via like webinar. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
That's
I
really
do it for all my webinars. Like I said, I made a couple of videos on my channel because it also helps with ascension symptoms.
mm,
Big time, especially when you're feeling, I'm sure you felt this when you've had a big activation, when there's a lot of energy coming in through the central sun. You feel like that electricity and you feel like anxious and you're like this, you're shaking. I call it a lightning round of tapping, or I'm just going around and just breathing. Because when you're breathing, you're moving that energy, you're moving that prana. And when you're tapping, you're opening it up and you're moving it down, especially you're visualizing it going out through your feet into the crystalline core of Gaia. And it's a beautiful sleep after that. You knock out after that, especially if you're anxious.
awesome. All right. Well, we're gonna step into. I'm definitely gonna check out your videos on that too, getting more because I'm assuming you give us you teach us how we can do this on our own.
Uh-huh. For sure. Mhm.
That's awesome.
And I
So
made my own little human, with the little points.
awesome. Okay, and then like whatever you do to that, it does to.
Well, you're doing it to yourself. You're just following the little map.
Oh, the map. I see what you. Oh, okay, cool, cool, cool. So yeah, let's play the three questions game. We'll take turns asking each other questions. You can start first. It could be about anything, and then I'll answer it, and then I'll ask you a question, and then we'll go two more rounds.
Okay. When did you find out you were a light worker?
It was 2011 when I decided to give my like rededicate my life to Christ and to get into theology, which was interesting because I was talking to someone recently, and it was I was talking to someone recently, and they're like, yeah, if you don't go to theology because you'll fall away from Christ, and I learned that like I we really
Yeah.
need to learn about. I had this book called Misquoting Jesus, which at the time because I had brought a couple friends to Christ at that period, and I was ready to go to like seminars, schools, and I wanted to learn biblical literacy because I wanted to be a Christian apologist that would witness to Muslims and Buddhists and just different people. And instead of like trying to judge them, like I wanted to hear them out. Like, what is your block to Christ? Like, how can we fellowship together? And then, upon studying and learning, I realized, wow, the Bible is not the inerrant word of God. Like it's not the book that I was taught that has to be the only authority and I can't listen to
Mhm.
that's now what opened me up to start watching horoscopes, which before I was taught was of the devil. And around that time, the universe was working hearing my call for like, what do I do? Because I was lost at that point. I was like, I felt a void. Like, what am I supposed to believe in?
Mhm.
And around that time, my younger sister introduced me to uh, Babalawo, like someone who was into Santeria and all that. Turns out, long story short, he didn't have the most integrity, but I was destined to know him. Like he was destined to help transition me. I started reading tarot cards because he introduced that. He kind of helped transition to understanding how to embrace more the African traditional religion and seeing how that comes through, which is ironic because he was telling me that like screw astrology. It's a prominent Aquarian influence because this man was an Aquarius and my uncle, who I'll mention later, was also an Aquarius, and both of them were like you don't have to forget astrology. My uncle was saying finish your degree. This other dude was like, we talked to Orisha, like you guys depend on transits. But my heart at the time was not. I was stubborn. I was like, no, this is the path for me. Like this is what I'm meant to be doing. And come 2013, 2014, when I went to Kansas to live with my uncle, I eventually had an ultimatum because he was saying that I need to delete my YouTube channel or like leave his house. And I
Wow.
I dropped out of KU. I was able to find a ride to California because I knew someone from Soul Garden, a spiritual community, who happened to be in Kansas. He made calls and he found someone who needed someone to drive her car from Wichita to Cali. So like I
Wow.
didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't know how I was going to do this path. Everything worked out. I started making the first few videos. I kind of solidified my position in this astrological community, and it's
Yeah.
amazing ever since. I still
It's all about surrender.
it's all about surrender.
It's
Oh
all
yeah,
about surrender.
because like Spirit before had been telling me to go too. Spirit was just like, just leave your house. Like I want to go on an adventure. And Spirit's like, just leave your house. And it's like, but my Earth is like, but how? Like, oh, where am I gonna stay? What am I gonna do? So I kind of had to get like an ultimatum moment before it sprung out for me. But
Well, you needed that kick in your butt. Just as
yeah, yeah,
the kick in the butt I got before I made my channel was I was like I said I was up in New York on a contract at NYU Hospital, and they're trying to screw me over out of my money, and my oversoul said you're not going to get paid until you make your first video. And I literally stayed in my friend's bed for 3 days saying no, mad as hell. I was like, screw you. I'm not doing this. You're going to ruin my life. I already said I'm just going to do holistic health. And I finally, my girlfriend's like, do it. You're not going to have the money. What are you going to do? And I was like, okay, fine. When I did it, the next day I get the phone call. We're going to pay you for 3 months, even though you only work 3 weeks. I was like,
oh my
mother.
god,
And
yeah.
then that was a Thursday. Monday, I went and picked up the check. I was like, for 3 months' pay. I was like, look at that. I had to put out that stinking video.
I, I like the attitude towards it too because it's very real. Like you know,
That's another misnomer. Everyone thinks you have to be so, ooh, yeah. It's like, no. The same way I'm talking, and people get so, oh, why are you talking that way? People, I said, because that's the way I address Jesus, okay?
yeah, that's another thing that I was contemplating about today too. Like the Christianization or the over solemnity of like connecting with Jesus and the guides as if you have to be kneeling down and you can't talk in a casual way when I really get the sense that these beings are as friendly as you. Like they would.
But you know what I say? Straight up. You know what Jesus showed to me? Because I was like so upset. So many people coming after me because they said, "Oh my God, use the swear word," and he showed me himself at the temple. And then I went down. I was like, "Hold up!" I made the video. I said, "Listen, Jesus, freaking, he was flipping tables at the temple
Yeah.
and kicking ass and taking names. Okay."
It's just like the Pharisees that are like, why are you dealing with these drug addicts and these poor people and these sinners? I mean, what
Exactly.
they were probably listening to secular music. They were probably listening to like sinful music. And Jesus, it's not like Jesus was like, I'm not. That music isn't holy. Like I don't think they see things like that. I think it's more
They
like,
didn't care because that's not the truth of it. Because the people who acted the more holier than thou, especially going to Catholic school, you know this, they're the biggest sinners on the face of the earth. They're the biggest hypocrites.
a lot
It's
of
easy to trust the drunk in the corner.
seriously. There was this person who he was a he's like an internet tech, and he was there in like Salt Lake City, Utah, where they're like heavy on Mormonism and against porn and all that.
Mhm.
But like, even though they put that front that they're so anti-porn, he's the one
No.
dealing with their IT, and most of these religious officials have porn in their back catalog, and he's the one clearing it. Like, wow, how, like, wow, that's kind of crazy. Like
Oh yeah.
the most porn ever in this type of. So yeah, I totally agree. It one thing about this path that has really released so much is embracing my darkness, embracing the part of me that I thought was sinful, and seeing for it as it is with discernment, not allowing it to take over. So I'm not saying
Mhm.
labeling it, but just embracing it and bringing it to light so that I can change what I need to change. But my question for you is,
Mhm.
what's the magical realm? Like, how is one aware of the magic realm compared to the real world? What's a good way?
Magic is real. Magic is real.
That's true, though.
There's no separation.
That's a perfect answer. Yeah, there's no like magic realm or real realm. Everything is magic.
It's yeah, it's all one. I've never discerned a difference. I have literally have been doing this since I was 5.
That's amazing.
I've never seen a difference,
Yeah,
and it confuses me sometimes, and I literally have to try. I have to sit there and try to understand when people ask me questions like that, because I'm just like, it's just because you can't access it does not make it not real. In fact, it's more real than this computer.
it is.
It what makes the computer.
That's true. I've recently learned the understanding I got recently was like the way magic is portrayed is so misleading because magic is an ever present experience that's like a scientist that doesn't believe in magic that does a scientific experiment is doing magic, even though it's like
I find them the most ignorant of all. I look at them, I'm just like, oh, pobrecito, you poor thing, you bless your heart.
just too material. And
Yeah,
yeah, you come up with all these equations and factual evidence, but it's just based on your systematic understanding as a human. It's not really like you're discovering anything. It's not like I mean, compared to us, to what we can buy.
well, it's like this. They're seeing this, and they're not seeing this.
Exactly.
The vastness of the universe. When I was first taken out talking about magic, the highest alchemist of all, Thoth, when I first met Thoth and was taken off planet and connected with the universe, I was just like, whoa, nothing to me seems more constraining. Now I feel claustrophobic because it's like I've been in the vastness of the universe.
That's amazing.
So it's like to be here, it's just like, oh, this is so nothing. It's like a drop of water in the ocean, literally.
Mhm. And that's it's inspired me to like because before I used to be like, okay, if people ask what I do, I'm just gonna say I'm a counselor, so they don't think I'm weird.
Oh, well, no, I still say that too. I just say, oh, I do holistic health. I do holistic health. That's all I say too.
Now I'm just gonna be like, I'm a magician. Like I make the impossible possible. And just knowing that people are gonna look at it weird, mess with their heads, just be like, wow, this dude really believes in magic, and have a serious conversation. I'll say it as if I didn't say the weirdest thing ever, but which isn't weird. But it's like the spirit is like, if anyone asks you, Michael, tell them you are a cosmic counselor. You're a magician and a cosmic counselor who utilizes astrological language.
There you go.
And if people ask you, you're a magician, be like, not, I don't do magic tricks. I actually am a
Well,
miracle.
that's the one thing that upsets me. Especially that was another thing. The next step was to introduce higher realm magic to my audience, and I still did not want to do that because I'm like, they're not going to get it. No one's going to understand. I already have freaking people asking me, find me my gold. Oh, I lost this. Like I'm a freaking, like I'm Houdini looking in a crystal ball looking for your damn key. I find that highly insulting, of who I am.
Oh, you didn't know that was going to happen? Aren't you a psychic? And that's not what.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Oh. And people get shocked when I'm like, okay, this session's over and I'm refunding your money. Bye. They're like, what? It's like, no, bye. No, you can't have another session. If people get surprised when I do stuff like that, it's like, no, I can't be bothered with you because your mind is this freaking big. You're not ready for me. Okay? No.
And see, the reason for that, the reason why they get surprised is you have all these frauds who take people's money and be like, I can do this for you. I can do this spell for you.
Yeah.
They purport that. And that's because this field isn't regulated. A field like this should be regulated. You should have.
No, the same government that's feeding us lies is regulating it.
You're right.
Bro, the same government that we're taking down in the next few years, that's not going to exist anymore.
And that's going to lead me to my next question, as far as like, because I notice a lot of people are afraid to talk about the government and how like in a conspiracy sense, okay, but like I don't think people realize that the decline of our government system is at the end.
Yeah.
It's done. Like there's huge.
Well, it's all around the entire world. It's at the end because the earth cannot support the energy anymore. People think, oh yes, the earth is going to be fourth dimensional and 5D. And like, I don't know what they think is going to happen. I'm just like, do you understand we're still going to have houses and cars and there's still going to be a grocery store? It's not all of a sudden going to be
everyone's kumbaya and loving each other. And it's like, you do realize.
Well, no, the vibe, it will be different. The human interaction and human relationships will be very, very different because it has to.
It has to,
yeah. It has to
happen overnight, though. It's not going to be like we're all friends. Like there's a lot of clearing, which is this.
Well, there's a lot of clearing that's going to happen. I spoke about the timelines on my channel. 2020 is the time where it can no longer be ignored what's being exposed.
Yes. So true. Yeah. And it's crazy because the last time we had energy like this, where Pluto was in Capricorn, was the revolution. Like the French Revolution, the American Revolution. It's literally a recycle. Like Pluto was about to enter Aquarius. George Washington founded America. Pluto's about to enter Aquarius again. We're about to enter probably some of the greatest warring period of all time. And I love how we said it in the beginning, how you mentioned in the beginning. When I say this, people are expecting like bombs to drop. And it's like, no, the war is going on in front of your face right now. It's a war.
Yeah. The war actually is the fight to keep the truth from being exposed. That's the war that we're in right now. But this is not, you have to look beyond the whole French Revolution and the American Revolution. This is the human race revolution. This is something that's going to completely change the entire face of the earth. Human interaction, the earth itself is not going to be vibrating, because during the French Revolution and during all those other revolutions, the Earth was still in 3D. The
Yeah,
Earth
that's
is
true.
going to be 3D. None of these structures, these constructs, are going to be able to withstand it, nor the people who still want to vibrate on that level are going to be able to withstand it or function in the higher vibrating realm. It's not going to happen.
It's so true. Yeah, that was very insightful. That's so true. Like, and I'm glad you said, because I felt that like we were going to be the ones who set up the. We're going to be the ones who paved the way to set up um, instituting
The new world. We are.
the new world, and like, but also like setting up regulation. Like, okay, this is. But you're right. We can't do that before we address what needs to be destroyed or like put down.
The old system has to be completely gone. That's what people need to really understand. That's why I say it's going to be so messy. Come 2020 to the end of 2024, 2025 is when the dust completely clears, the way it was shown to me. That 5-year period, every structure is going to be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Cultural, which Hollywood is really controlled. That's what they're using Hollywood to do. That's going to be completely destroyed. The governments all around the world, medical institution, religion, all of these pillars, the economics, all of it must be torn down. You cannot build the new on top of the old. It's like blowing up an old building that's crumbling, which is what's going on around the world, but then leaving all the debris and thinking you're going to build a brand new structure on top of it. No, it all has to be cleared away.
That's why my spirit is restless, because I have all these ideas like we got to do this, we got to do
Me
this.
too.
Chill, like we're not.
Wow. I have binders and binders. In fact, I'll show you one of the binders right here because I was using it to prop up my tablet. That's only one of my binders, filled with my information printed out that I've been working on, that I've been downloading since 2012. And it's very intricate. I didn't even know I knew how to farm, or when it comes to hydroponics. I didn't know anything about it. All I did was draw diagrams, wake up 2 o'clock in the morning, just automatic writing this stuff.
Wow.
And then I met a friend of my sister's who actually went to college for that, and another client of mine who has a master's in farming and hydroponics and all this stuff, and all the lights, and like, how did you know this? You go to school for? I thought you went for medicine or and I was like, I don't know. I just downloaded it. I have no idea what I'm looking at.
And
all
you
I know is I'm supposed to do it.
So no one can say that you're uneducated too. Like you have went to school. Like you do have like certificates and degrees.
Well, I have a few degrees. I have a couple of degrees. My first degree is in adolescent psychology, and I worked. This is why I say, as a light warrior, I've been in the pits of hell with these kids. I worked in a lockdown adolescent psych facility, 174 beds, where 90% of the kids, no exaggeration, 90% of the kids were sexually molested. A good 50% of them were human trafficked.
Oh, wow.
And then you have another 20% that were part of satanic rituals.
Wow.
Where, when I say there was one, let me tell you, and after this happened, the 3 male, big black beefy dudes who were patient care techs on the boys unit quit the next day. This is how jacked up what they saw was. It was a Sunday, and the manager walked in on this boy raping 2 other boys on the unit. Trust me, what I'm telling you is light compared to stuff that I've seen. So they bring the boy in, and he's screaming. This kid weighed about 85 pounds soaking wet. He was only 12 years old, okay? Because we're in the younger kids unit between ages of 9 to 13. And so they put him in the padded room, and he was like screaming crazy. This little sucker threw off 3 big beefy black men, one at a time. And I was like, me and this, she was a good old Southern, big old thick, her big bouffant blonde hair. She grabbed her Bible out of her bag and she was like, "Come on, girl, we're gonna take care of this demon." I said, "All right, let's go." Okay. So I went in there with her. I put this kid in a special hole that we do them in, and I had him on the floor. And mind you, all of this is being filmed because they always have the cameras everywhere. This is being filmed, especially directly into the padded room. And she is just like, she's throwing out scripture and she starts saying the armor of God and everything. So she's screaming it out. And this is the first time I ever did this. I blasted white light from my heart. I felt it come in. It was this angelic being came in through me, and I wrapped him in the white light. And I just kept saying, "I love you, I love you, I love you." And then something literally went boom out of him where the guys were like, like you literally heard it was like a sonic boom. And this kid passed out in my arms as she was just preaching, preaching, preaching. And it was like, okay, it was over. It was almost an hour of us doing that. I go back to my office across campus because at the time I was working part-time employee health nurse, part-time group counselor. That's why I was called in over. They always call me over for the crazy cases. So I went back to my office, and one of my best friends, she still worked there, and she was like, "Girl, what phone call did I just get over there? What the hell happened in that boys' unit, the young boys' unit?" I was like, "How do you know?" She goes, "I already got the phone call. And they're already waiting for you to talk to risk management and blah, 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 and the head of security." They're playing back the tape like, "What just happened? What is that?" I'm like, "I don't know. All I know is he's asleep. That's all I know. Did you give him anything?" "No." What was going on? Because they couldn't see the nurse standing outside. They saw her hands. Like, well, who was that? I'm like, "That was so and so," and she was praying. Praying. I was like, "Yes." And so was I. "What did you say? What happened?" I was like, "I don't know." Because all you saw was the light go boom. And then he was passed out of my arm.
Wow.
The manager and the assistant manager and the kids unit PCT, they all quit the next day.
Oh.
These guys have been working there for years. The manager was there for 15 years.
Oh, and the one that he shook off, all the ones he shook off?
Yep.
Wow.
They said they never felt something so evil and demonic their entire lives, and they don't ever want to experience it again. They were crying. They literally were in tears. These big dudes were in tears. And I was just like, I walked out, I got hit, high five, girl. Me and that nurse, me and that older, we just high fived each other. She goes, "Devil ain't gonna get me. I knew you'd be the one. That's why I called you." I was like, "Yeah, all right, we got this." I've seen kids, 12-year-olds, literally bite concrete off of the wall.
The kids are the most easily possessed, and there's been this is something that's hard for me to speak on because it's hard for me to find people who are well in it. But the exorcism field, I feel like my whole life I've been prepared to take that journey. That's the one. If there's one thing that I could do now, that's what I want to dedicate my life to, like meeting these dark forces and exercising people. I'm just kind of like not waiting, but once again, I feel like it'll naturally come through. And I know it's not as glamorous as it seems, but
did it sound glamorous what I just did and what I just did?
Yeah,
it was horrifying.
But that's really what I want to immerse myself into. I feel like that's the whole spiritual war aspect as far as is concerned for me, because what I picked up is that ever since the Institute of Television and programming, it allows it allows these energies to possess children with all the demonic imagery and the subliminal messaging in cartoons. Like at an exponential rate, people are getting programmed and
well, here's the thing with those kids. And I had an attachment myself, but it couldn't possess me. Let's put it that way. But that kid was straight out possessed, and a whole lot of others that I've seen were straight out possessed. What happens is through sexual abuse, through physical abuse, it weakens you. It weakens your guard. Therefore, something is allowed to attach to you.
Ah, that's so true. That's so true. Yes.
Your spirit must be weakened.
Like R. Kelly, who's been sexually abused. And
yeah. spirit must be weakened for it to attach to you.
So, all right.
Drugs do the same thing. Alcohol does the same thing.
Alcohol and spirits. Yeah, that's true. Or it is. So we're now on round 2. So you can ask me the second question.
This. I'm gonna get all up in your business.
Yeah, you can.
How's dating when it comes to being this? How do you run people off?
I mean, the helpful thing about this is not helpful, but I guess the reason why I'm not so I don't know the word, but what I'm trying to say is before I got into this, I never was in a relationship. I've never been in a relationship my whole life. Like I never really had luck in that area anyway. So yeah, as soon as I came into this, I was that much more weird of a person to people. Like it was that much harder. No one wanted to be with the crazy guy, but like, it definitely helped me reevaluate what I look for in a relationship. It put me in contact with understanding, the type of person I want to be with. It's put me in contact with pretty cool people that I could be with. Then the issue kind of switched to, okay, I thought I wanted to be in a relationship my whole life, but now that I'm getting older, it's like, do I really want to sacrifice my alone time? Like I've grown so addicted to being a hermit because I've known rejection my whole life. Like my whole life, like I've never really and I don't want to play victim because I feel like a lot of that is just how I express myself and learning who I am and not being as confident as I could be when it comes to dating. But like I've never been the type to have girlfriends. I've never had a girlfriend. The only type of girlfriends I had were in high school, and they wouldn't be over a month because they weren't real relationships. So I know in the chart how that makes sense, but I'm never. I mean, at that, when I first started doing this, I was the dude asking everyone, "What's your sign? What's your sign? What's your sign?" My friends had to pull me back, like when I go out with them, like, "Yo, like maybe if you go on a date with someone, you can bring that up like on the third day, but you can't be asking these girls like, oh, what's in your chart and what's up." And I get what they were saying, but people thought I was saying it as a pickup line when I'm really just trying to like.
About it.
I was literally in the club where people are drinking, like giving people mini readings, like just trying to channel and just like. I made one friend off of that, but like then I was like, okay, no, you can't. You got to wait for the invite. You can't just like read people. That's how I wanted to be. I wanted to be like the angel that just walked in the club and then told you something you needed to know, and it's like, oh shit. But
you know what, bro? People really don't want to know. That's the whole deal. They really don't want to know.
Yeah, this one lady, I asked her if she wanted to charge. She's like, "No, I don't want to know what's gonna happen." Like, I was like,
"People really don't want to know."
Yeah, but I mean, as far as like the dating scene, it's cool now because at least I'm more confident about what I'm about. So like, if someone does think it's crazy, I like to play that out. Like, I like to appear some level of crazy. Not that it's crazy, but I like to purposefully step on the toes of what people think is normal or not, because then that's going to attract someone to me who doesn't see it as weird. And it's like I'm broadcasting it. But at this stage, I've just been so like, I didn't realize, because I always stay in my head, I didn't realize that at a soul level, I do kind of still fear rejection, or like I'm just really afraid of being vulnerable. So like I've blocked out love outright. Like I don't even let people in my walls. And I didn't think it was a big deal, but it's bad.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, even consciously I'm open, but subconsciously, like I won't allow myself to feel a certain way. I won't allow myself to open up or really listen by myself. So it's something that I'm working on, but I'd like to make the excuse of, oh, I'm just working on my mission, so I don't have time to really like connect, even though it's something that I want to do. But I'm also leaving it open, not looking for love, letting it just happen naturally. But it's a really good question you ask, because yeah, before I've always been like the outcast. Yeah, Hangmaster 17, he knows what I'm talking about, because like we used to go out all the time, and like I was that awkward dude. But even before I got into this, I was a Christian. Even before I was a Christian, like in grade school, like little boys and girls are telling me you need to go out more, because they would talk about like sex. And back then, when we say sex, we'd say doing it. I didn't know what that was. I saw a Playboy magazine when I was a young kid. I didn't know it was porn. Like I was so sheltered. Like I didn't know really what was what. So I've never really fit in. I've never not been in a position where I was not the weird dude. So I've kind of gotten used to it. I've embraced it. I think it's kind of, it is what it is. But yeah, I think that's a great question. Moving forward, I'm just kind of focused on being authentic and myself. So at least I know more what I want concerning that. But my next question for you is magic wars. Like as far as like the spiritual war that has been raging on, and as a light warrior, what are the next fronts that because one thing I'm noticing are a lot, like this past cycle, so much people have been traumatized, they've been hurt, and with that open door, a lot of dark essences and spirits have possessed people. Like a lot of people are possessed, a lot of people are influenced, and this manifests in psychological maladies. But like I kind of have a vision of like, you know, the next stage of this war just being more physical, like people being possessed to do things subtly. It's not like the exorcism movie where they're throwing up, but it's like so subtle. If you don't have your eyes open, you wouldn't know that someone's being directly used. So like what do you feel about this next stage of the war where like the government,
Well, right now, what's going on is that it has gotten even more intense for light workers when it comes to a lot of us as light workers, this is the late stage of the game. Last hurdle for some before, especially this activation that's coming in right now, this last quarter, before we're at maximum, for 2020. So I know I'm vibrating too high at a certain level where, I could have a 14-foot dark being standing in my room, and I'm just like, and they don't even bother coming anymore. But what has happened is that these agents of darkness have been working through my kids.
mm,
They will go to whoever your loved one is,
very true,
who's vibrating low enough that they can work through to come at you,
very, very
to
true.
try to lower your vibration and throw you off your game. Because when it first happened, honestly, I was like, I was extremely depressed. But then it doesn't last that long, because I realized that not only do I realize it, but I see the attachment physically. I'm just like, yeah, all right. Also, you think you got her. All right, wait till I get home. I'm gonna fire up my altar. I'm gonna light a fire under your ass. Okay, I got you. We'll see what's gonna happen. You know, where that is why also I held last week. What was it, on the 25th, Friday? I held a live for all the people who consider themselves high realm magicians who've been working with me, and whoever else wants to come in and join their energy. And we did a magic session, and I've held a few of them, and it was especially to counteract what was going on when they said 13,000 witches were going to get together to bind Donald Trump and bind the movement. And I was like, you know what? We're vibrating up here. They're down here. They're a bunch of little knuckleheads. Yeah, they got the dark ones behind this, but the higher always overtakes the lower. So I'm like, let's put our energy out there and just squash this stuff once and freaking for all. It's like taking a fire extinguisher and putting it out. That's how I felt like it. So we did it. So that's the whole, it's taking the offensive. It's taking the offensive, not sitting there and just being passive about it. I believe in taking the offensive in the
Yeah,
matter when it comes to
always
magic.
get the offensive. Always got to. I totally agree. That, and so that's as far as like just be proactive then. Like don't be
Yeah,
like yeah, but do what
yeah.
you got.
You're gonna have a minute where you're upset and depressed. Yeah, but shake it off quick.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
don't have time. You don't have time to stay in the depression.
and the more you linger there, the more it opens you up to be like influenced.
Exactly. Well, then they're accomplishing their goal, aren't they? They're lowering your vibration enough
Yeah, very
to where
true.
they can get to you.
Oh, please hit that like button, guys, if you haven't already. And yeah, we're now on the last round of questioning.
Okay, Mr. Peace Dealer. What is next for you? What's your next level up?
So yeah, that's really I'm going through my Saturn return right now, and that's really been my hugest. That's really been my hugest challenge, leveling up to that level where my lifestyle is more in order and just producing more every day. So I started my college career 2008, and nearly 11 years later, 12 years really, I graduate into 2020. I changed my major a couple times, dropped out a couple times. So it's fascinating to me because I'm actually destined to finish now. It's like I was meant to take that long.
Mhm.
I'm finishing my degree. I'm getting a life coaching certificate. I'm getting an astropsych diploma. I don't need the certificates, but it's just really more so a choice on my part to kind of like engage in these fields. But
No, but you know what? The papers matter. When people say, "Oh, you shouldn't talk about your," no one cares about your degrees. Sure, it does. That's how I get people who are at the top of their game in their industry. The first thing they say to me is, "I know I could trust you because I know you have all this. I know you're not just fake. You actually have certification. You went to school for 6 years for this. I know you have this." And it
credibility.
gains the trust, especially it gains the trust of the Muggles too. It gains the trust of the people who are just newly awakened because they know you have that behind your name. It may not mean much in the big picture of it, because there's plenty of people out there who don't have it behind their name who are amazingly powerful. But for those people, you know, I mean, who honestly, do you really want to go to someone who you found out didn't graduate from med school? Do you really want someone who calls themselves a nurse giving you a shot and they didn't graduate from nursing school?
That's
No,
true.
you don't.
Yeah, that's very true. So and that's why I'm grateful. I'm definitely grateful for the opportunity to get this too. I really do feel like it's really going to help. It's going to open up really good doors for me. So I'm really, I'm really focused on that. I've just been so obsessed with harnessing my full power. Though it's like awareness of my abilities that I'm not as aware of as I could be. Because to me, it's like, okay, I'll get there. But spirit is like, no, you need to awaken this now. And I'm like, okay. And it's to the point where it's like what
Yeah.
you're trying to do physically, you need to bring out your full power to get there. So and prayer's been answered because now I've been given the tools with this meditation you've shared, which we'll do shortly to get there. So really,
Mhm.
for me is like I finally realized who I am. I finally realized what I'm here for. I finally have a platform and a network with which I can really spread messages and I can stand for something. So the next stage for me is to finally like outreach. I've recently filed for a corporation. I have a record label now, so I'm going to be reaching out to all the people who have been day ones with me, all the people who believed in me, all the people who have helped me reach here. I really want to reach out to aspiring spiritualists or people who have talents and like found them, put them on, really help support what they're doing, really come up as a community, really go out as a nonprofit or even as profit and help sponsor events and to just spread that message. Basically, take the foundation I brought here and have more of a physical presence, broadcast more, do more meetups and really be out there connecting. And I don't feel like I'm any less out there, which is one thing that I think is a misconception. Like, because primarily a lot of what I do is online, it's seen as like a millennial thing, and I just feel like I'm embracing technology. But yeah, I'm just really ready to surrender to my higher self, not get in its way, and do the damn thing. And I'm so excited. I'm reaching 30 next year, and I really feel like I'm gonna be in a position to do this. I know a lot of cool people in El Paso, in Jersey, that in Maryland, that I if I had the opportunity, when I will, because I know I will, and I want to fund their projects, sign people as producers, really just get people to make the dream work.
Well, this is what I'm talking about when I tell people that we must build 5D, we must build higher 4D. It's about building it. It's not going to spring up on its own.
Yeah.
All these old institutions, the music industry, the film industry, all the medical industry, all these industries that must collapse. Okay, music's still going to be there. So now it takes us higher vibrating beings
Mm-hmm.
to build it. And the way it was shown to me is that it is up to my generation, Generation X, and your generation, Generation Y, to build the new world. It is up to us because my Generation X, we're the oldest generation that's going to still be alive with the new world completely being up and running.
That's true.
And not only that, it's my generation and your generation. We're the parents of Generation Z and beyond Z. We're their parents. So we're the ones who have to literally physically build this new world.
Yep.
We're the ones taking it down, and we're the ones who have to build it.
Very true. It's such an honor and privilege, but it's so intense. Oh my God. But
yeah. I shake a lot of the times thinking about it. Literally, my teeth start chattering. I'm just like, especially when I think of all the stuff.
oh God.
It's so funny because a lot of people, they look at us, and I know they look at you, and I know I've been looked at that way since I was a kid. And so you're the jack of all trades. You know, you have your fingers in all of this stuff, you know, but it's literally, we have gained all this knowledge and wisdom and talents and abilities throughout all our lifetimes that we've been here. We were literally created for a time such as this. That's what we were created. Because when I came into my awareness, I was 5, how different I was, and I always kept saying, and I would pray to Yeshua, what? Not who am I? What the heck am I? What am I? Because of the stuff I knew and was able to do. Like, what am I? It didn't make sense to me. How do I know how to do these things? I didn't go to school for designing. I didn't go to school to write. How do I know how to do this stuff? And people would call me a weirdo. It's like, I'm a weirdo because I know how to do something that you went to school for and you still don't know how to do right. How am I the weirdo? But it was because
weird. They're right, because weird is supernatural.
Exactly.
So they're wrong, but they're right.
Yeah, but the whole thing is that I'm like, no, you're the weirdo because I consider myself the natural. This is real. You're the one who's suppressed.
Exactly. Yeah, very true.
That's the way I would see it. I'm just like, no, I think you're the weirdo. Actually, that's how I would get into fights all the time.
That's what's up. That's and it's a very real thing. Even now that it's being embraced, it's still so much more in a superficial way, but baby steps, that's for sure. My last,
You know what? When shit hits the fan, we'll be the ones standing there waiting for them, and we're going to be the ones who they're going to be like, okay, we trust them because they've stood in their integrity
the whole time.
The whole time.
Yeah. That's one thing I love about this, because I remember when I started, especially as a Gemini, like, there's a lot of things I put my hands to, and even my mom, who's still very traditional Christian, like she's told me recently, like, I don't really want to support your business because I think what you do is of the devil or whatnot. And I know she means well. Like my mother is definitely someone who has supported me up to what she feels is right for her. But you know, one thing that she'll even say is, this is the one thing you've done and stuck to and haven't stopped doing. So that's it. You know what I mean? So, and there's a lot of people who probably saw me start off doing this, which is crazy. I feel like this path came at a time where I was rejected, I was ostracized, I was isolated or alienated by a certain group. And
But not for nothing, it was your oversoul doing that to you. It was your oversoul guiding you to being ostracized, to being isolated.
it really, because now, and it's like people probably expected me to just like, I'll say no one expected me to build this and like have like a good healthy support base, which is just, it just makes people scratch their head like, wow, I didn't think you would do anything. Even my younger sister was like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like I kind of just expected you to start this channel and then move on. I didn't expect you to like gain the success you did, and that's just more a testament to spirit. I just always like to say,
Exactly. More testament that it's true. My mother has no clue what I do. She still thinks I work in the operating room.
oh, okay.
So does my uncles, my aunts, none of the older generation knows. My cousins who are my age, their 30s and 40s, they think I just do holistic health. The only people who know what I do. My kids know. My daughter calls me a freak and a weirdo all the time. She calls me a freak, a weirdo, psycho, sicko. Like she really disparages what I do. My son, he has his own altar. He sent me pictures of it. He's an angel soul, 100% angel soul. And my daughter, she's a Muggle soul. So there's a big difference
What
between
are
the
their
two.
zodiac signs?
Huh?
What are their zodiac signs?
My daughter's a Leo
Okay.
and my son is a Virgo.
Do you know their moon signs at all?
No, I don't remember. I used that. Like I have that chart somewhere.
Okay. I know your son being a Virgo makes sense because Virgo is a magical vibe. Like the magic signs are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. So those four signs are naturally disposed to magic. It's easy for them. Virgo is usually the most skeptical, but they're still versed. So that's really interesting though. Very, very interesting. So my last question for you is the high magical I forgot what you just called it. High realm magic.
My higher realm magic. Uh-huh.
What is like if there were what for anyone who might be a beginner to it, what is like the first step to understanding high realm magic or like the first step to it?
Well, my oversoul is who decided to call it higher realm magic. Because a lot of people are like, oh, is it Wicca? When I was younger, I did Wicca. I was into candle magic
Yeah.
and earth magic, if you want to call it that. My babysitter, the babysitter for my sisters and I, she was a Santeria high priestess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she showed us some stuff. All right. So yeah, we kept that in mind too. That's how we learned how to do the cards. And my older sister started off with the tea leaves and the bones, and me and my younger sister were into reading the cards. Going to the library before the computer thing. So we'd go to the library, take out books, learn how to read palms. Lighter stuff like that. Not the heavy duty Santeria. You're from the Northeast. You know what it is. But yeah, so I've always had that part. And then the higher magic didn't come in up until the end of last year, when my older oversoul said, you're going to take the earth magic and you're going to marry it with the alchemy. Because since the beginning, when my actual ascension happened, I was always awakened. My actual ascending happened December 23rd of 2012. And that is when the sacred geometry started coming and everything like that. And, a few years ago, I met Thoth, and he even showed me more about sacred geometry. And then I was introduced into the Emerald Tablets and then the Kabbalion, all of that together. And then I was always into the astronomy, astrology, all of that since I was young. I have tons of books on that. So it was taking all of that together. And especially once I was taken out to the higher realms and taken out to meet the planets and meet the stars, literally, and feel them and commune with them as living, breathing beings, and understanding how their energy works. So it's about pulling in that energy. So when I do the higher realm magic, I will call on Pluto. I did a few videos on Saturn and who and what Saturn really is and what's going on with Saturn and how Saturn's energy is so important right now. The Saturn being set free
Yep.
right now. So Saturn plays a big part in it. So calling in Saturn, that is what makes the higher realm magic. Yes, I still use my candles. I sit there and I have my herbs, but I also add the crystals. And I'm able to program the crystals to intensify the magic. A lot of people say, oh, you don't need all that. Yeah, true. But it just intensifies it more, and it allows you to focus.
Spices. Like you don't have to season your chicken, but you can, and it'll taste better, right?
Exactly. There you go. That's it.
Very true.
Exactly.
You described perfectly a concept that I've been speaking on this channel for years, as far as like, in fact, you fleshed it out better than I've ever spoken on it. And it's lower tier magic and higher tier magic. So lower tier magic
Exactly.
is Virgo, and then higher tier is Sagittarius, Pisces. And seeing that you're a double Pisces, you are an authority on higher realm magic. So I think that's a great honor that you're able to share that with us. And in closing, the ceremony and ritual was supposed to start at 7, but I'm pushing it to 7:30 because I didn't expect us to speak this long. So that's awesome.
Oh,
You're welcome to join too. The it'll show that I'm live when I put that on. But and we're just
okay.
at 8. We're gonna do the gene ritual. I'll play the gong music and then we'll say the chants. But yeah, do you have any? How can I have your YouTube in the description box below, your website, and your blog page?
Mhm.
If not, I just have your YouTube and your website and your email rather. So how can people reach you, and what services do you offer?
The best way to reach me is via my website, higherrealmholistics.com. There's a form there. You just fill out the information and send me information. I offer on my blog, you'll find a tab that has all the webinars, all the past webinars that I've been doing for the past year. That includes the Higher Realm Magic webinars and includes webinars to help you ascend. Okay. I had a webinar yesterday, and that was for your Kundalini activation and keeping your Kundalini up. And next Saturday, I'm having the Merkaba activation. And the reason why I'm doing these two at this time, which again, I went kicking and screaming because I felt it's a huge responsibility to activate and do stuff like this. But my oversoul said, like you said, there is an urgency. This is the final quarter, and who's ever ready, if you're going to be able to get them going, and this is it. And because my Merkaba and my Kundalini, it was very organic how it came. I didn't watch any videos. I wasn't allowed to look at anyone's channel to go. It had to come through me. So I was be able to be powerful enough to do it for others.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens when you're a forerunner.
Yep.
So I had to get to that point. So I have that going. And also you could book sessions. I do spiritual counseling sessions and guidance sessions like that also. And you could do that. And also I got my merch.
Merch.
Like,
Awesome.
and my other merch on my channel too. And a book. I'm also an author, children's book author.
That's beautiful.
I have my children's book, and it was bestseller on Amazon. It's still doing very well. It's on the shelves of Barnes and Nobles on the East Coast of America, but you could buy it worldwide. And also I have another book called That's How the Caterpillar Flew, Journey of Self-Discovery. It's a children's picture book. And also I have When Angels Come to Play, and that's more of a teens to adult book. All that is available on my website.
Awesome. And I guess in closing, what final word of advice do you have for people walking the spiritual path?
Surrender. And then surrender again. And then just when you thought you surrendered, you surrender once more.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And And don't judge yourself. That's another thing. Do not, even if people sitting out there saying, "Oh, you can't possibly be spiritual because you said the F word," it's like, please, again, it's that ascension snobbery going on. Yeah, it's like, please, Jesus was flipping tables. What do you think? He was like saying kind words when he was doing that? Whipping people? No, he wasn't very nice about it. All right. So it's like, yeah, whatever. Take your mom. So surrender to yourself. You don't have to lose your personality, because you do get to a point, which when I got to that stage, I cried for days, because like, I finally got to like me. Am I not going to exist in me anymore? Am I going to be gone? You do die to your old self.
You do, yeah. That's what I'm going through now. It's I didn't know dying and resurrection would feel amazing, but also still just like intense and awkward.
Yeah, you do die to yourself. And it's like, oh my God, you feel yourself slipping away. And it's like, am I still gonna, my whole thing is, am I still gonna be me? I finally love me. I just don't love me. I like me. I'd hang out with me. I like talking to me. Is she gonna be gone? It's like, no, I'm even more me now. I'm, I don't give a shit now. I really don't right now.
That's very reassuring to hear that you're more of yourself, even though you had to surrender yourself. So that's
Yes, you become even more of yourself, because now you're whole, because you've embraced every part of yourself at this point. Somebody could be standing there, your own kid or your own husband or wife, which my own husband, they could be standing there and just disparaging you, and you're this and you're that, and you're just like,
Hmm.
mm.
Yeah,
Literally.
for real.
And they're like pulling out the hair, because they don't understand why you're not getting upset. And you're just like, because you're so authentically you. There's nothing anyone could say at that point. It's just like, yeah, okay. Sorry about it. You're missing out.
That's been the hugest. That's one thing that's let me know I've grown so much more spiritually, because like I'm very telepathic. That's one of my strong points. Like I hear thoughts from miles away, and whether it's telepathic or real life, just the body language and whatnot, I can tell that people say nasty things and like
Mm.
feel nasty things, and I've reached a place to where I feel bad. Like it doesn't anger me. It's like I see it for what it is. It's like, wow, like you have to be in a very shitty place in your life to where all you can do
Yes,
is upset,
yes.
throw this shade.
Yeah, I actually, I just rejoined my dance class a couple of weeks ago, because it was getting so intense with this group of women who were so intimidated by me. And it's like, I'm clairaudient too. I hear the freaking voices, and it's like, you want to turn around and backhand pimp smack them
Yes,
with
yes.
the rings on. I
Oh
said,
my
I'm
God,
rings
yes.
on to backhand pimp smack these
It's like
bitches.
say that to my face. Say that to my face, please.
Yes. And here's the whole thing. I will turn around on purpose. I said one time, I said, I'm sorry, did you say something to me? No. I'm like, oh, I could have sworn you said something to me. Are you sure? No. And they're like, that's the one thing I'm like, oh my God, is it gonna get, are we all gonna be, is it gonna be more like this? I've had enough, but I don't want to hear what they're saying. I prefer not to know.
It's very dark. It's very malicious, and then
Yeah.
hearing that, that's what really snapped me in. It's like that's why I have to do this work. It's like not to save people, but it's like wow, like this is not some bubblegum light. Like there's people holding in some intense darkness, and it's like wow, you must be depressed and miserable inside to be expressing this, because someone of love, someone who is of light would not do that. And
Yeah.
it's helping me see who is who, and but
Yeah.
just what they look like. So it is.
Exactly. I mean, I did say to one of the women's later on the next day, because I still kept hearing the voices, and I did say to one of them, I said, why does it make you so uncomfortable when I stand next to you? And she just looked at me, and she was honest enough, and she goes, it's like you have springs in your feet, and and we're like the same age, and it just makes me so uncomfortable that you're jumping around like that, and I'm doing the best I can. I still can't keep up with you. I said, well, if it bothers you that much, I'll go stand over there because I'm not going to stop jumping around because of you. So I went up there. And then later on, she felt bad. She's like, oh, I thought you might like a bottle of water. I was like, no, that's okay. So I'm like, did the bitch spit in it? I don't know. Thank you, but no, that's all right. I have my own water.
Yeah, that too. Accepting stuff from people these days. I mean, it's nothing new, but still. But yeah, we're gonna end this here.
Okay, cool.
So much. This was
honor. It was great.
And you guys watching live, stay tuned. I'm gonna start the other live so we can.
Did you want me to hang out? How do I get there? Go sign on?
Yeah. It'll just say that I'm live. Like it should say on my channel that the live is coming up.
Okay.
There are people already waiting there. But
all right.
Once I go live, you'll see that I'm live and you can totally join us.
All righty.
All right. Thank you guys so much once again for staying tuned.
All right. You're so adorable. Thank you for having me.